least to me, it was, these muted colors, but rich and just beautiful. I was wondering, because they referenced the wallpaper in the script in a later episode, but did they reference it because you made it, or did they?
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
was a visual pun from
Yeah.
the very beginning. So I selected it. It's called Ink Blots, and it's hand painted in Kansas, and it's like a Rorschach test. And I think it's very on the nose, but yeah, and the writers picked up on it and made it into a successful joke. But you're right about the palette. It's fairly neutral, but of real materials, like a lot of that white oak. It's repeated throughout the set in furniture, on the walls, in the cabinet work.
Yeah, it's really nice because it doesn't overpower.
No,
it's not like it's like wood. It's like it's such a nice statement, especially with the black iron there, and such a nice composition that they can get there. In multicam, I think, as you say, like, it's all about angles in multicam, right? It's all about, and you only really have these main sets of where can you move these characters to. And I think it's such a great opportunity with that boldness back there. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And then that artwork also.
I know, right?
So
it just so happens that we're season 2, episode 1, and today's the first day on stage. In the 3rd episode, we have an art gallery. So we are bringing in, pieces by the art that's behind it's on camera left right now. So we're bringing in several of their pieces. So it looks like, Frasier is a collector of that particular artist.
Oh, that's fun. I mean, when you have a character with money, you get to do so much more.
I know, it's so fun. It is fun, but 2 broke girls, those girls were broke. And that was architectural salvage yards every week for me.
Yeah, they had some great eclectic style. I mean, really. Let me see. So the bar, to me, and looking at the bar, it reads so nice with the depth. And then because this is set in Boston, I think it's so honorable that it's like a fireman bar, like the motif of the fireman bar is so nice.
Well, that was certainly driven by the writers. They wanted that. They wanted Frasier's son to have selected a career choice that he wouldn't have selected for him, for his son. I don't know if you picked up on that storyline that Freddie, his son, dropped out of Harvard to become a firefighter, and a lot of Frasier and Freddie's conversations, or what they're working through, are their particular choices and developing a relationship.
I did. I watched the whole season.
Okay, so you know it.
Yeah, I know. I do love the choice here, which sort of breaks a little from maybe a lot of multicams that you've seen where, the people have their booth. And here you've given this opportunity, like, pull up another chair. And it's one side and everything. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice break from, how it is. And then to have the depth of the people in the background is so nice too, of like, oh, they're not really eating, they're playing chess, or like there's things for people to do in the background, which I thought was really clever.
Oh, great. Yeah. And then camera right of this, we wanted another seating area, and I just wanted it to be based on like a church pew. And we looked high and low, and I think we found one in like Offer Up or something, and we sent a truck out to probably Downey. Everything's always in Downey.
Yeah, right.
And we cut it. We gave it a mitered corner, so it's an L section. So I really love that seating area downstairs.
Yeah, I don't have a picture of that, but I know what you mean. And then the staircase also.
Oh yeah,
that opportunity again of exits and appearance, like when on the Christmas episode, I think he's announcing things, and it gives like a stage presence, which is so nice.
Oh, good. You know, the Cheers bar was so iconic for Frasier, and we, you know, that's a hard bar to live up to because we're also, I think it's kind of ingrained in our psyche that when we see Frasier, we think of the Cheers bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was going to ask about that. I was wondering if there's ever a note, like we want to, we want to reminisce Cheers a little bit here for him, or was there ever that sort of like, hey, what about if we did something like Cheers?
it hasn't come up on this show specifically because I think that um, it might be confusing. So we deliberately
Yeah.
didn't want it to look like Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was wondering just out of like, if Kelsey ever gets a voice in it and is like, oh, if I had a stool, or if there's ever the reminiscent, even with his older Frasier set, was there anything that he kind of said, like, I kind
yes,
of liked it when
I think Kelsey, the man and the producer, he had a lot to say about how you move through the sets and like his kitchen. And we did do some, you know, before we went to construction, we did redesign the kitchen to give it that like a centerpiece so that they can have more of a farce, you know, that they'd have, you know, upstage and downstage entrances. So that was a lot from Kelsey and the writers. And Kelsey has a lot to say because he also directs several of the episodes.
yeah.
So we did do one minor modification to the bar this season, just so that we can get some cameras into camera ports that you wouldn't be able to see in these photos. So
Yeah.
that was the director, Kelsey.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too how many things you can design and then somebody has an idea afterwards.
Yeah, you know,
Some
there's
brilliant
lots
idea
of
afterwards.
opinions.
What if I could what if we could have a camera port over here? And you're like, this a whole other wall moves. Why do you got to go over?
There's a door. That
Yeah,
was my favorite way. You want a camera port in the door?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did it, but that wasn't on this show. And Kelsey, it wasn't adding camera ports; they already existed. He just wanted to get the camera behind the wall faster, so we gave him more room. So because he wants to use them more often, and so that it's not a tight squeeze, that they just roll in there and roll out. Because of a lot of the things that we do, it could be just continuous throughout a scene. So you know, because we don't stop and go a lot. You know, they play the, you know, they perform a play, and so we'll go from scene to scene usually. So we don't have a lot of stops.
What was your stage? Was it like a apartment and then bar and then swing set? Like, or was is the apartment in the center?
Oh, for the audience,
Yeah.
gosh, this season, in front of the audience will be the little office, you know, Ellen and Kelsey's office.
Oh, I
The
love it.
next,
I
yeah,
love
the
this
next,
office.
right.
Yes.
And that's a tiny little set.
Yeah.
Then the next set over is the bar. And then
Mm.
the last one is Frasier and Freddie's apartment. And all of those are in front of an audience. Then to the left of that, it's still on our camera aisle. That's a swing set. And then we have another swing set space that is next to the audience, and they wouldn't see that.
The only multicam I've ever been in the audience for was Will and Grace.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like the first year I moved out here, and I was in such awe of how you were saying, like, it's a play, like they don't really stop and like, or they stop and like, oh, try this other line, like at the
Right.
end when the scene is done, like a candy bag of other options. But how the like the ballet of these cameras moving back and forth and getting angles and never, the actors never stopping, so it's almost like edited as they're acting. It's a beautiful symphony, I must say, when you can watch it. I think it's wonderful.
And it's funny that you bring up Will and Grace, because Will and Grace was famous for those alternate lines, because those writers were just so quick on their feet, and that was their fuel, is finding, is there a funnier, a delivery? Is there something funnier that's something funnier? And it was amazing how quick people come up with those, new ideas.
Yeah, it is. It was amazing to me to watch, and then it's so amazing for me to see in person the sets and everything. So that's the only thing that always sticks out in my head. It's the only one I saw in person. I don't even think I've seen, like, I never go over to like other people's, you never get to go over to other people's sets. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I've ever even seen another multicam, to be honest.
Oh
That's
gosh,
like
well,
what I've
come
seen.
over.
Oh, I'm gonna come over. Yeah, I'm gonna come over
Good.
and see these. But
I always love seeing it. I do you work on lots very often, or are you mainly
yeah,
on location?
yeah, I've been at uni for like 3
Forever?
months, and before that I was at Gower, which I haven't been in 20 years. And
Uh-huh.
so yeah, no, I love going. I'm saying I love to go to other people's sets. I don't think I've seen other multicam sets.
Okay.
That's why. That's what I mean. Like, I always sneak on to everyone else's set while I'm walking to the parking lot.
I know, right? And like if you're at like a lot like Warner Brothers, you see everything in the mill because that mill is still real,
Right.
and you see, all the different shows and what they're building. And I always love that because I'm in the mill at least twice a day
Right.
when I work at Warner Brothers. And then there's a lot of mills like or uni. I felt like I never went to the mill very often. It was so far from any stage I was near. So, I would just like, maybe go there for just first thing in the morning and then, go to stage the rest of the day. Yeah.
This office you were saying was tiny, which I watching it, I was like, this is a small room to get all these characters in, but it works, and it's so beautiful with that wallpaper. I kept trying to see, like, is it an Irish blessing? Like, what is how did you come up with that? And the trim and
It is Bradbury and Bradbury, which is still printing hand printed wallpaper, and now they are using computers, but just way more recently. And it's arts and craft, and it's probably William Morris or someone of that era, and they're still hand printed.
Oh, it's beautiful, and the trim and everything is so pretty, and it to me perfectly reads like a little Harvard office for a tenured professor.
It's a win.
Oh yeah, I thought it was funny too how it wasn't like, oh, let's shove another desk in here. It's the banker style of them sharing this desk. Also, I thought was that's good comedy.
Yeah, and it's so easily shootable as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have there's more of the
Huh.
more of the wallpaper there, and also him being, has been there a long time. Like, you could see the contrast of like the density of his side of the desk versus Frasier's, and I think it's just a gem of a little set there. I love
No,
it.
thank you. And this season we'll see a little bit more of Frasier's personality in that office, which has been Alan's for millennia.
Oh, and then I just noticed that lamp, that beautiful little lamp on the desk is fantastic too.
Yeah, that Amy Feldman
Yeah.
found it under a rock somewhere.
So during these episodes, pretty much you always have like a big swing set in every episode.
Right.
Right. I don't know how you have time or how you have the time to pull off like this giant bowling alley that you did. I don't
pull it off because it's a blast.
Yeah, really. I mean, to me, because I know that you basically have a week. I mean, we all have tight schedules. We all do. But I always feel like multicam, man, that's a lot going on for your one set or your 2 sets for the week. It's a lot.
But often we are given a heads up, and there may not be a script, but I think I had, probably, a hiatus week plus a week or something, because a lot of these things like that wallpaper upstage, that blue and teal or the teal on teal, I think that's from the UK. So I know I probably had at least 10 days, and I do that often you know, as I'm reading something, I know like a palette that I want to use, and I will just order material before we even start drawing a plan. That is my MO, is that, you know, get it in the air and get it here. So,
Right.
yeah.
Because there's so much, especially carpet and wallpaper for designers. The lead time, it's always too long, or they don't have enough. Like
Right.
that's always a struggle for designers, I feel, is carpeting and wallpaper.
Well, yeah, and it becomes kind of an additive process, you know, like I know I ordered that teal wallpaper right away, and then that carpet was like the best carpet, and I really liked it. But to marry the two, I picked up that orange stripe so that they came from the same world, color-wise, palette-wise. And that was a gigantic set. That was 3 rooms almost.
Yeah, I mean, you have this whole other side of the of the set. And I do love, I don't say like I'm kind of hiding it here, but this the pins to me
I know, right?
I love that. And all the awards and everything. And yeah, it's a lot of detail. It's a lot going on in this bowling alley. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, and that's probably, you know, the set gets standed at you know, or gets stood up at midnight, and then by the next morning, set dressing comes in at 6 a.m. The floor is already down, and then they start, you know, dressing like mad. And by 10 a.m., you know, the director is on stage and rehearsing in the set. So all the major pieces are in. So it really is a fast turnaround, and that set was gigantic.
Yeah, because you have a lot of graphics there too. And then you have another wallpaper back there.
Oh my gosh, I have wallpaper everywhere in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, over by the pinballs too. Wow, yeah. That's a huge set. It's so fun. And then a different carpet. I just wanted a different.
Yeah, that's shag.
Yeah,
because you got to have a little shag.
Yeah, when you're taking your shoes off, you just you want some shag underneath you.
Yeah, and it absorbs all those sodas so well.
Yeah. I thought too a really fun set was this kind of flashback to his Dr. Crane show.
Right. And we tried to do that so that it looked historical as well. You know, that you know, is kind of like those talk shows that were kind of done in an arc, and they always had some kind of Duratrans somewhere, and they have those big openings, and then that upstage entrance, you know, that people can kind of slide around. So we tried to do it like an old-timey talk show instead of the new ones.
It's but it's still you have his palette still in his, you know, creative world, which is nice. It doesn't break. It wasn't so character broken that he had like this big bright show or anything. It's still him.
No, yeah, it's still him. It has to be, you know, Frasier Crane approved.
Yeah.